Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have ZOE Begone. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Reggie Games, ZOE Begone released in September of 2025 for the Xbox Series, the PlayStation 5, the PC, and the Nintendo Switch, which is the version we're looking at today thanks to a review code provided by the developer. This title is one I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I've played several of the demos that have released over the years and was very excited to get my hands on the full game. It's a Defender style with run and gun elements mixed in, basically think Resogun with Metal Slug, and it has also a great, unique, hand-drawn art style to it. So with all that said, this unique, challenging shoot 'em up is definitely worth your time. Finding ourselves to the main menu, before we dive into play, just a couple quick suggestions. I highly encourage you play the tutorial if it's your first time playing the game, as it does an excellent job of teaching you the game's mechanics. And under Pro Tips, you'll be able to learn more about the game's scoring if you're looking to increase your high scores. Now selecting play, we're taken to the game's mode selection. Initially you only have arcade available. Completing arcade unlocks time attack and frame attack. Time attack takes the basic arcade experience and remixes it with a very heavy time element to it, and then frame trap does a wonderful job of remixing the bosses. Both of those modes are definitely worth playing if you've unlocked them. Now we have our difficulty selection. We'll be playing on easy today, and then we're taken to our level selection. So the levels are named films, and initially you just have one available. As you reach the next films, they become available to select from here. Selecting the film takes you to your wave selection. Same thing here. If you've completed the waves in the game, you'll have them available. So one of the things I really like about that kind of system is it lets you practice sections if you want to do so, or if you have favorite films or parts of the game, you can just focus on playing those as well. I particularly enjoy film 4 as an example, so we could just play that if that's what we were looking to do. But for our purposes, we will be starting at the beginning. Reclaim the Real. So we're playing the character ZOE, who is this sentient ink blot that was created by the creator. However, the creator does want to erase ZOE, so that's your basic story. All ZOE wants, though, is just to be able to take a nap. So as far as our mechanics are concerned, we have two primary methods of movement in the game. So the first is our flight mode. So this is very similar to games like Defender or Resogun, but one thing to note, we can only fly when we have energy, which I'll explain here in just a quick moment. We have the ability to shoot left and right, as well as using the dash attack. The dash attack is very powerful at taking out enemies, but it does use up the energy that we need for flying. So if we run out of energy, then we drop to the ground, and now we're in our ground mode. In ground mode, you can fire in 5 directions, left, right, up, and then the 2 diagonals. In addition to that, we can also jump. There's also some other movement options, so whether on the ground or flying, you do have the ability to do a ground pound. And that ground pound is very useful for a couple different things. A, if there's enemies on the ground, you can do damage to those enemies. However, apples are our currency that the enemies drop, and they don't persist for very long. It is possible to get an upgrade that will increase your ability to suck in the apples, which we'll see here in just a moment, but ground pounding the ground knocks the apples up and then pulls them into ZOE. So here we find ourselves at the store. So we have some great options for increasing our abilities here. Gun power, of course, is the one I would recommend upgrading the most. You also can upgrade your speed, shields, and then app grabs. And then there are 3 shots that you can get as well, but they do require energy to use. So if you run out of energy, you lose that particular shot. So we do have enough apples to purchase the gun power, which we'll do so, and we'll start Reel 2. So now let's talk a little bit about the energy. So as we're moving around, we can ground pound these both blue and red objects at the bottom of the screen. What those do is they have a couple purposes. They'll refill our energy, and they also reclaim the reel. So what does that basically mean? It's saying that we're taking back the reel from the animator. It's also possible to get health restores. Those are the green triangles. Collecting those restores Zoe's health. Whereas all this energy and health that I've been talking about, on the bottom of the screen, on the right side, you'll see that we've got health there. On the left side, we have energy. I was trying to fly there for a moment, but I had missed the fact that I was out of energy. So you do want to be careful about that, as being out of energy is not a good thing in this game, as you do want to have the ability for mobility regardless of whether you're on the ground or not. So as far as overall gameplay, I do like playing that was kind of more of a run and gun, but I really like the fact that we can both settle on playing that way as well as playing in a more of a Resogun Defender as the style gameplay. So along the bottom of the screen, we also have a map. So you've got the blue and the red for your energy, as well as the health. And you can see all of that represented right above the health and the energy bar as like little blue and green sections. So that's really useful to let you know where things are at for a couple purposes. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. So with the amount of money we have, I'm going to pick up an upgrade as well as a shield. The shield protects you from 4 shots. I encourage you to spend everything you've got in the shop the second time around that you're there, as the apples you've collected do not persist from one film to the next. So that's something that's important to keep in mind. So clearing or rather reclaiming the reel is actually quite important, as one of the primary bonuses that we get at the end of the stage is for a percentage increase of how much we've cleared from the reel will translate to a multiplier to our score. As well as I mentioned, the apples don't carry over from film to film. However, one of the reasons it is important to collect the apples is they do, even in the final reel, is you do have the ability to, well, they'll increase your score at the end of the stage itself. So all of this adds up to being a really fulfilling experience, and also the game itself can be quite challenging. Even on easy, especially in some of the later films, things do get quite difficult and bullet helly, so it's very satisfying. And some of the stages get hot and heavy right off the bat, like Reel 3 for example, throws you into the action immediately. So if you're looking for a challenge, then I can definitely say ZOE Begone does deliver on that promise. So just a little bit about score. So there are a couple of different ways that we can increase our score. Dashing through enemies will give you some score, as well as a multiplier that you can see there at the bottom of the screen. As we defeat enemies, where we increase a multiplier, and you can build that up quite high if there's enough enemies on the screen. Now, when we hit the end of a wave, we have what's saying here, a frame trap, and it will freeze us on a section of the screen. So it's important, if you're looking to have a good boss fight, that you leave a section where you potentially have some energy as well as some health restores on screen, so that you can more easily fight the boss. So we can choose to go and fight the boss in a couple ways. We can fly around on the screen, or we can just run around on the ground using our greater range of fire to both handle the boss, which in the first stage here is the brush. So the boss fights are all really unique, and as the fight goes on, things do get a little bit trickier. Some of the fights I think are really awesome, but I have also had a couple instances where things didn't go quite as they would have hoped, just a couple bugs. So I did go and experience a crash after fighting one of the bosses in stage 4, and then also just a couple points where the game soft locked and I had to reset the encounter basically, but you can restart on the bosses fortunately when fighting the final boss. So once you've defeated the boss with the health bar depleting at the top, we're taken to our results screen here, and here you can see we get a percentage of reclaimed real, and that that adds in as a very heavy multiplier to our score. Then once all that's tallied in, it loads the second stage, and we move into the second stage. And that is ZOE Begone served up for your enjoyment. So as far as the minus flavors are concerned, it's not much that I have to say bad about the game itself. So, but there is just that minor issue where the game doesn't have a lot of music. So I like the kind of like 1930s like feel that the game has, but I would have liked if there was just a little bit more music and option to what's going on there. Every reel goes in, every film feels unique. You have different enemies, different like mechanics going on. The bosses are different, so you have a great range of feel in the game itself. With the apples not carrying over from reel to reel, or film to film rather, it is a little bit tricky to purchase all the upgrades, specifically all the gun upgrades. So you'll want to be conservative with your purchases if that's what you're looking to do. As I do feel the final gun upgrade is worth getting, but it is difficult to obtain. But along those lines, it would have been great if there maybe had been like a little bit more options in the shop itself. But on the plus flavors are concerned, the game itself is just an awesome mix of some great mechanics. From the core gameplay, everything feels good. The ability to just move around the screen, both like you're flying, the running around on the ground, all of that, it just comes across as a wonderful experience. So let's grab an apple grab, and we'll try some of the shots. So we'll take the spread shot here, so you can just see a little bit about how the shot mechanics work. Then the game itself is a challenging experience where we have those couple different types of mechanics, as well as some really solid bullet hell gameplay going on. So real quick, since I did go and pick up a shot upgrade, so when you're using a shot upgrade, you can see that it does require energy on the bottom to go and shoot. Our shots are actually break up the energy bar, so you can actually see what you're using as far as the ammo. Once that's like depleted, then you lose a particular shot. And then the game has a really great visual style. So that whole being on the reel, seeing like the creator put down things or draw things on the screen itself, is a wonderful just visual flair that not many games I feel are able to duplicate just how well this one looks and feels. So there you have it. ZOE Begone served up for your enjoyment. Definitely a recommend from the chef. This is one that I think a lot of gamers will be able to enjoy with its mix of mechanics. And with that, we find ourselves at the end of this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. Once again, I do want to thank Retchy Games for providing the review code for the game this week. I want to go and say thank you so much for joining us, and as always, we hope you have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.